Okay, so you do your time, and then at one point you get out. How old were you when you get out from doing this particular bid?
22.
Okay. So you get out at 22 and you go right back into crime.
Right back in.
Right. You start doing robberies right away.
Right. Well, let me say this. So when you're paroling and you're an NR member at that time, 6 months to the house, you make a commitment to either continue to function beyond the walls of prison out on the streets with the NR, or you tell them, now, you know what, I want to go back to just doing what I do. I got a family out there. I'm good, man. So you have that option. You had that option back then. I elected to continue functioning. So when I got out, there was a crew out there in San Francisco that were out there, involved in criminal activities, robberies at that time. We were out there we were involved in all kinds of stuff, counterfeiting, extortion.
Okay. What kind of extortion were you doing during that time?
I mean, like an extortion. So you might have a business, a mom and pop business in the Mission District. And, we might push up on them and tell them that if they're required to pay so much, otherwise something's going to happen to their business. It'll get burnt down. Somebody might come back and do something to them. That's one form of extortion. And then being out there forcing people in our, areas that we consider our territory to pay to sell their dope out there, kickbacks, that kind of stuff.
Well, you yourself, you're Mexican?
I'm Mexican, Puerto Rican, yeah.
Okay. And most of these stores that you were extorting and so forth, were they Mexican owned as well?
We always do that, man. We always shit in our own backyards, man. Instead of going out of the hood into the suburbs, we always tear up our own neighborhoods. But yeah, that's what we were doing.
I mean, now that you're older, when you think about that, you're essentially terrorizing your own people.
Yeah.
Does that bother you a little bit?
It does. It does. When I reflect back on it now, I see the things that I was doing, but that's what I was involved in at that time,
Yeah. Well, right when you get out during that time, you end up getting a girl pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay. And she had the baby, but you really weren't involved in the baby's life at all.
No, I figured it was better for me to fall back, man. I didn't want to be a part-time father. I didn't want, have a son that was gonna come up and have to visit me through a plate glass window. So, my thing was, I was looking at it I was doing him a favor. His mom raised him. She raised him good. She was a Christian, and he grew up as a Christian. So he was away from all that stuff. And I just didn't want to expose him to that. So I made a decision not to be a part of his life.
I mean, in retrospect, you didn't have a dad in your own life. And things probably would have worked out differently if you had an active father who, took a role in your upbringing. And then you go and repeat the cycle yourself. Does that somewhat bother you at this point?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it was a direct result of what I got involved in. It does, though. It probably wasn't the right decision, but because I was involved in the things that I was, yeah, like you said, I continued that cycle.